Welcome back to the Sports and Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker, and let's get straight into it. Monty Williams getting fired was not on him, not at all. Um, the general manager and the higher ups of the Suns messed Monty Williams' season up because how you just going to leave Monty Williams with just Devin Booker, just a starting five with no depth. And then when it was time for the playoffs to come and injuries started to happen, there wasn't a lot of options on the table for him. And so going into the game 6 of that series, all I see is KD, Devin Booker, Torrey Craig, Cameron Payne, and Jock Landale. You tell me they're beating the Nuggets. I'm going to blame this on Monty. Kevin Durant did not show up that game at all. And you're telling Monty he has to leave. Kevin Durant folded. I don't want to hear KD being a top 10 player all the time. I don't want to hear KD and Steph in the same breath because KD being a leader of a team or being the number one option of a team has never worked. And the track record has shown. So KD coming to the Suns, yeah, we thought it was going to be a super team. But they just weren't great. And another coach is Mike Budenholzer. Mike Budenholzer got fired. Maybe things were different in Milwaukee, but at the same time, his superstar player did not show up. Giannis did not show up in the game 5, where Giannis missed over 8 free throws. Giannis, it's an every year thing with you. Like, what does he train on? Like yeah, his shot looked smooth in the beginning of the year, but then all of a sudden he would revert back to his old ways, and his old ways didn't work. His old ways haven't worked since they won the championship. After that, it was you lost to Tatum, you lost to Tatum the year before, then you lost to Kawhi, and it's like those things are never going to work. So, and then the Bucks I think, are a little too old to run it back. So getting Mike Budenholzer out of there is going. I think there will be some change going to Milwaukee throughout the offseason and possibly the beginning of the year with maybe some trades and maybe some new guys coming in. And then if Doc Rivers gets fired, I promise you, it was not his fault this year. James Harden had less points than PJ Tucker. Let that sink in. James Harden had less points than PJ Tucker. And then Joel Embiid and James Harden combined less than Boston's second option and Jaylen Brown. They blame this on Doc Rivers, saying he couldn't get his team to show up. They're a grown man. It's game 7. This is where your contract is going to get made. And y'all folded like lawn chairs. And we gave Embiid MVP. We gave him Embiid MVP. And I'm proud he won MVP, but he did not show up. I don't want to hear Embiid's the best big man until I see him show up in the playoffs. Jokic has showed up time and time again in the playoffs, but Embiid hasn't. It's always he's injured. Well, that's a common thing around in Philadelphia. Your superstars are getting injured, and they just don't show up to the big moment. I'm sorry, but this was not Doc Rivers' fault. You're telling me Tyrese Maxey was your second best player throughout the whole series? I can go on ahead and say that Tyrese Maxey was your second best player, whether y'all won or whether y'all lost. He was the most consistent, and he gave Boston problems. But we're just gonna ride out with James Harden though, right? Like this is a reoccurring thing with James Harden, Joel Embiid. Like Joel Embiid hasn't even gotten out the conference semifinals. Like this is for real. Joel Embiid has never gotten out the conference semifinals, and Boston somehow has Philadelphia number each and every time. Like Philadelphia wants to make it a rival. Jason Tatum gave your MVP 50. 51, matter of fact. When Jason Tatum saw Embiid off the pick and roll, he was licking his chops and going to work. When I saw Jason Tatum do the hesitation in the beginning of the game, Jason Tatum do a hesitation and get to rim and dunk it. I said it's gonna be a long day because that fourth quarter performance that Jason Tatum put up into Game 6 carried over into Game 7. He humbly said, "I'm one of the best players in the league," and y'all laughed at him. He's a top 10 player saying that. But if Embiid said that, we'd be like, "Yeah, he won MVP. He did this. He did that." But since it was Jason Tatum, we laughed. And Jason Tatum gave you an MVP 51. And this is why I say what I say. Philadelphia will never be an issue in the East to those teams that are actually contending and actually have something to work for the NBA Finals. Because at the end of the day, they're going to fold. Something has to change in Philadelphia. The process has been going on since I was in elementary school. Well, the process need to be shut down. It's been longer than saying goodbye to your aunties and uncles at the cookout. Something has to give. I don't know what is trading some pieces away to get back some new players. Like you can fire Doc, but who you gonna hire? Mike Budenholzer? Like Doc Rivers he's a good coach to me. It just his track record has shown like thing things hasn't gone his way, but he's got y'all to that point to where y'all can contend for a championship. This time it was on the players. This time it was on the players. Like there's nothing else to put it. I'm sorry. And then let's talk about the players that has not performed when the lights are bright. Jordan Poole. How you let Austin Reeves outperform you, and you're the one with the $100 million contract? And B, come on, man, we for real? Game 7, Harden, are we for real? Julius Randle, Stephen A. already chumped you out. I got nothing else to say. You got to go. I don't know where, but New York has to trade you because Jalen Brunson playing almost every minute for the whole series, and you couldn't help him out just a little bit. RJ Barrett had to be the second best player, while you're the one making the bag. Yeah, no, I just can't. And Game 6, Clay. I just thought Clay was gonna show up because Clay was doing well in the first round. Now, all of a sudden, Game 6, Clay. You shot the Warriors out the game. I'm still rooting for Clay, but Clay, you got to come back better next playoffs. You have to. It's just like it's just a lot of things that be going on. I just look at it like, wow, this is what it is. Like this is what it is. The playoffs show sometimes it goes people's way, sometimes it doesn't. And lately, this playoffs I've been seeing, man, oh man, the players just don't show when it matters right now. Like we're seeing role players outperform some people's star players, and then when it's a superstar versus superstar, one's going to fold. Like Jason Tatum versus Embiid, Jimmy Butler. I want to say Jimmy Butler's a playoff superstar, and Jimmy outperformed Giannis. Like Jimmy was walking out Drew Holiday, who I say is one of the top 3 perimeter guards defensively, walking him down and telling him what like how many points he has on him. Like there's nothing else to put it. There's no other way to put it. I'm just I'm just in shock, honestly. Like this is crazy. But now, since we have the Western Conference Finals and the Eastern Conference Finals, this is a rematch of the bubble. Let's start off with the East. The person who needs to show up for Miami, it has to be Bam Adebayo, Matt Strus, and Gabe Vincent. If those three players show up consistently, they can still two games. Because the way Boston showed up in that Philadelphia series, if they showed up the way they did, showing up every other game, that's not gonna work with Miami. Because Miami's gonna be full on the gas at all times. Because their leader, Jimmy Butler, is not gonna allow them to take their foot off the gas. I just as simple as that. And then I see Boston. It has to be Al Horford and Derek White. Because when Al Horford and Derek White are hitting shots, Boston is that much more dangerous. They already compete at a high level on the defensive end. And it's just though when those two guys are hitting shots, that would lead Boston to maybe sweeping Miami or being Miami in 5 because they have Jimmy Butler. I respect Jimmy Butler that much that they're gonna have to make sure that they play hard for the whole series because Jimmy Butler is gonna play hard for that whole series. And then for my keys for both teams, Miami, you have to hit shots. That opens up driving lanes for Jimmy, and Boston won't have to compact the paint so much. And Boston, just be consistent. As long as you're consistent and match the physicality of Miami, you guys will be okay. And I think Boston will take it in 6 because I think the Heat will still a game. I still think Miami takes the 2 games that they have at home. And then but I think Boston will close it out at the end, winning the last 2. That's why I believe. And Jim Butler will have an outstanding playoff series, but it just won't be enough. They don't have the star power to match up with Boston. But moving on to the Western Conference Finals, where the Lakers and the Nuggets. The Lakers coming from the play-in to the Western Conference Finals, as Miami coming from the play-in to the Eastern Conference Finals. Both teams had took the hard route, but they got there. And I think what the Lakers have done is rebound at a high rate, getting to the free throw line at a high rate, and not settling. When the Lakers are not settling and they're actually getting downhill, they're a dangerous team. And I think the Lakers have to do that more so than ever against this Denver team because their guards are more athletic than your guards. So you have to be you have to be technical, you have to be skilled, then getting downhill and drawing those fouls so that you can put their guards in foul trouble. And also, whenever Phoenix won, they allowed Jokic to go off, but wouldn't let his counterparts to go off. If they have the gameplay of doing that, but they have a better center than Phoenix did, I will say. They have Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is the best person to match up with Jokic. We saw in 2020 how that went, and we saw how AD can cause Jokic problems just by him rim running, being a skill scorer, and just be able to have that mobility as Anthony Davis has compared to Jokic. I think he can wear Jokic out. But I have to say for the Nuggets, you guys have to play sound defense, not allowing the Lakers getting downhill. And also just keep your foot on the gas because the Lakers will have times where they kind of have spurts of settling for jump shots, and when the Lakers are settling for jump shots, that's where you can run out in transition because the Lakers are the worst in the league in transition defense. If you run out of transition and you start scoring left and right in the transition, the Lakers had to do nothing but start going downhill, and that's when you can get them a little out of irate, and then you can take their mistakes and turn it into positive things for you guys on the offensive end. My impact players for Denver has to be Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, like those two players right there. Oh, and Case and Kentavious Caldwell Pope. Those two players right there. That's gonna make or break the series for the Nuggets. Because Michael Porter Jr. has to show me he has to be willing to play sound defense. KCP has to hit shots, and Bruce Brown has to come in and disrupt things and give offensive production. And that's hard in today's league. But if those three does does that, I think the Nuggets can win. But the Lakers impact players have to be D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and always been a bench player for the for the Lakers that always seems to have a great impact on the series. I think that impact player can be Rui Hachimura as he impacted the Memphis series. It was Lonnie Walker's turn for the Warriors series, but if Rui comes in and puts himself in position to score and also rebound a high clip, even maybe guard Jokic from time to time, maybe for a couple possessions to get Anthony Davis a break to be the help side defender. If Rui does that and gives you 50 points a game, I think the Lakers can win. But now I think the Lakers will win in six. I want to say six. I want to say six. It's all because the Lakers have LeBron James, and LeBron James, he's 38, but he's still putting up phenomenal numbers. His impact on the game is forever being noticed. And also, I think Anthony Davis will cause Denver to settle for more jump shots than usual because of his paint presence. I think I think the Lakers bench will have more of an impact than the Nuggets bench. And that's a wrap for this episode. I want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.